Hi, my name is Hua. I am the co-founder of Lumina Guild, and here with me is Tiffany Carroll, who is the founder of Lumina Guild. We are starting the month of June. Can you believe it? It's June 2026 already. And each month we have a facet, which is an energetic transmission that we explore, we embody within the guild. And this month it is the facet of agency. What is agency and what is our relation to agency? Tiffany, do you want to read the transmission?
Yeah, I was just thinking that when you said it. So the Hua is in France right now in a beautiful apartment that has noise out on the streets. Just imagine it happening. So our facet of agency for this month in the Lumina Guild goes like this. You are not at the mercy of systems, you are their author. Sovereign choice made in integrity becomes the architecture of your wealth. And there's a line that I want to read from the scroll, which is sort of an expanded upon expression of that facet, because this one really, it's really sticking with me. Agency is not about control, it's about choice. And another line, let every choice be a prayer, let every decision be a transmission of your truth. So I'll let you pick up from there while with what you were feeling in relationship to choice to share.
I guess like while you were reading the facet, what I've got is we have the big choice. We have the big choice that we make every day, where to live, where to move to, what work to do. That is the big choice. But how about the micro choice that we
Mm,
make from moment to moment? Because the decision whether to feel wanting to be in control or the decision to take a deep breath and knowing that all is right is a
mm,
choice we make in every moment.
mm, mm,
And that is to me, that is like the sweetest choice,
mm,
the most delightful choice we could make. And if we break a day down into so many micro choice of choosing how we want to feel, how I want to feel in each moment. And if we consciously make that, it adds
mm.
up to a day, and a day can just feel amazing. Don't you agree?
I totally agree. I love the way that you expressed that. The piece that I feel coming up for me in relationship to that is that it's been a you know, I want to name that it's been a process and a journey, and I believe that it is for all of us to be able to have the capacity to do that more. To me, this is the most extraordinary luxury. The most extraordinary luxury isn't anything that I own. It's my capacity to choose, because I haven't always had that capacity. And I don't experience always having that capacity for freedom in certain moments. You know, if I've really spiraled into something, I don't have the experience of being able to choose. But when I do have the experience, and when I set the tone early in my day, I get up early and I go to the rooftop and I sit in quiet and I listen to the birds. I'm setting the tone for that spaciousness. And in a way, it's like honoring is one word, but valuing. It's valuing that capacity. Like, you know, anything that we value, we really take care of. That's how you can see that you value it. If you have a cherished item, you take care of it. And thinking about valuing our capacity to choose actually helps shape the decisions that we make during the day. I'll give you an example. Yesterday, this wasn't the story that I just told you, but this one is coming fresh. Is sometimes Rory and I, my husband Rory, and I get in this pattern where it's like I'll be happy, but he's grumpy. And then as soon as I come into the room and he's really grumpy, then I feel grumpy. And then I'm mad at him because he made me grumpy. He surely must have made me grumpy because I wasn't grumpy until I came into the room with him. And I know from a higher awareness in myself that that's not true, but phenomenologically that plays itself out. And so I I was like, oh, I had done my practices in the morning. I had more spaciousness within myself. And I came downstairs and he was in a grumpy way because Kiara took the little pitcher to steam his milk for his cappuccinos. and, and I could feel the energy when I walked into the room and I just said, oh, I can tell, or I think I said something like, I see what's going on, or just let me know when you're feeling different and I'll join you again. Let me know when the energy's different. I don't remember exactly how it came out of my mouth, but there was no push against him. I wasn't making anything he did wrong. I wasn't afraid to enter into the space because I would lose something. I just simply honored the capacity in myself. I wanted to preserve that capacity to consciously choose for as much into the day as I possibly could. And so I love what you said. I think it might have been before we started recording, but that agency, or maybe on the recording, that agency is really choice. Agency is choice. And certainly there's some things that we don't have choice over in our lives, things that happen that doesn't feel like we chose them. But this micro piece that you spoke about, choice to jump into the momentum of something that we're used to that always ends in a result that doesn't feel good, or the choice to stop and breathe and redirect. That's incredible authorship.
So beautiful. And and I guess sometimes we don't have the choice to choose where we are. But I feel like where we are, the environment we're in facilitate the ease of making that choice.
Say more.
So I'm in southern France right now. It is sunny outside, the sun is out, the breeze is breezy, it's beautiful. And the pace of life is slow. So by just being here, I just feel like it's so much easier for me to choose not to react aggressively to a situation. So although we cannot always choose the environment we're in, but the environment we're in create the facility for that easefulness, for us to make that choice more easily. And so sometimes I feel that if I'm in a place, I'm already in the pattern of I have to go up against this, I have to rebel against this, I have to against something. For me, the easiest way is get in the car, get in the train, get out, change the environment so that pattern can change.
Well said. Yeah. Yeah. So it's like, just to illuminate that sort of, or summarize what you said, because it's so significant, is we may not be able to choose what's arising in our environment that we're currently in, whether it's things happening with one's kids or spouse or politics in your country or whatever it is. But you might very well be able to choose to get out, and that could be stepping out for a walk or getting on a train, like you said, or getting in a car. And you might not be able to, but you might be able to, with some planning, choose to take a little trip that you know your soul has been longing for, to just get out of the place where you are. I know that if we didn't get out of the United States on a regular basis, I just wouldn't feel the way that I feel. And I really enjoy, most of the time, I really enjoy the way I feel. And it's because I have come to learn that, when we come to Sardinia, I experience Tiffany in a certain way, and my body slows down, and I I can orient with life differently. I have pretty predictable patterns that I get into in the United States that feel very rushed and hurried and productivity driven. And that's not as interesting to me anymore. There's another version of Tiffany that's happening that I'm really interested in. And then the other part that you spoke about, we both spoke about, is that while you also may not be able to choose again what's happening around you, you might be able to choose a different environment in your own head by taking a breath, by smelling an oil, by choosing to zip your mouth instead of open your mouth.
That is
Oh.
so true.
Oh my gosh. Mm. Let's see. There was that story that I shared with you before I started recording. Is there something you wanted to speak about? And then I'll feel if that story feels relevant and then we can wrap it up.
I guess we started with the micro choice, and then we started with a slightly bigger choice of doing something, of smelling an oil, of taking a breath, going for a walk. And slightly bigger is getting on the train to get out a little bit, to change the environment. And then another layer is the choice that we have to make big change. Yes, it's not always easy, it's not always available, but it is there. It is available to us in the big sense that it is there. But what is in the way? What needs to be unblocked? And it could be internal, it could be external, but the choice are there. The choice are there available. So I think starting with the micro choice, working our way up to the bigger choice, and then the bigger choice, it's like building a muscle for agency. It's agency and practice. And everything takes practice, including making choice, the freedom to make choice and having agency of our life.
Well said. The practice of agency, really beautiful. I want to say something about big choices, and I'm going to tie that into something about Lumina Guild too. I just love that you said, even if you don't feel like you can make it now, maybe all things logistically in your life point to, you can't do that. Like, you can't take off and do that trip or move to another country or whatever the big choice is. But the choice is still there. It's only the voice that's saying you can't do that. And actually, the story that's coming is this was a complete game changer for me in my life, and it points to, it's an example of what you just spoke about. I was in my 20s and I had just finished my graduate school studies. And so I was opening my practice, my clinical practice. And I didn't have much money at all. I remember just for like $500 to get my practice started, I put those expenses on a credit card. But I learned that this mentor of mine, Paul Pitchford is his name, he wrote an incredible book about the energetics and the healing aspects of food. And I learned that he had this mentorship program, a residential mentorship. And I think it was like 2 months long. It was quite extended. And you had to go and live there, obviously, because it was long, in the hills in California. And I heard about it, and everything in me just wanted to be a part of that. And it was starting shortly. And I was just opening my practice, and everything was like, you can't do that. You're just opening your practice. Like, you can't open your practice and walk away for 2 months. You have no money. You can't do that. You can't do this. And I went on a hike with this woman who was a lot older than me and a lot wiser. And I was in this kind of whiny voice in myself saying, oh yeah, and I found out about Paul Pitchford doing this, but I can't do it. And she said, yes, you can. And I said, no, I can't do it. And she said, yes, you can. I said, no, you don't understand. Like, I'm just starting my practice. I don't even have the money to be able to do it. I can't do it. She said, yes, you can. And I think it was 3 or 4 times. The final time that she said it, it was the only words that she was saying back to me. Something popped, something broke open in me, because I realized the only thing that was keeping me from doing that was this idea that I couldn't do it. That was actually the only thing. So when you talked about things being stuck, it's not really, in my experience, it's not really what we think it is. Like when I hear stuck, it feels like it's something out of my control. There's something stuck. Could be in my ancestral lines. It could be, I don't know, the phlegm in my meridians. But there is nothing that could ever be slowed or stuck that can't just move in an instant that you make a different decision. And that's the power of decision making. And you can't have agency without decision making. So, my suggestion would be make decisions and then line up with them. Just make decisions and line up with them. And you can start with these little small ones. And, like Hua said, build the muscle, work your way up. Because it's extraordinarily empowering, is it not?
It is, and I think this will lead us to Lumina Guild so beautifully, right?
Mm.
In that moment where you thought, I can't, it's not possible. What helped you was that other woman turning up and saying, yes, you can. Don't be ridiculous. Yes, you can. Because she has that thought pattern of things are possible. And that is the magic in Lumina Guild. Every single time that one of us saying it's like, oh, I can't have this artful way of living. I can't like abandon my job to be an artist. There are people in Lumina Guild already modeling that way of living. So it's so much easier to tune into yes, I can when you're surrounded with people who's available to those choices, who's modeling those choices already. And that is the power of community. And that is what we're doing in Lumina Guild.
Whew, I got chills. That was so well said. Come hang out with us in the guild. It definitely has made things possible for me that I know wouldn't have been possible otherwise. And we welcome you there anytime. Thank you, Hua. This was so nice. Ready to close out? Okay, let me stop recording. Gosh, I should have my glasses on for this. Okay, stop.